Hello, people of Asylum. I've got a story for you today. We will be talking about the removal of Lieutenant Austin Rogers from the APD. We will go over with what we know with 100% certainty. Rogers was removed from the APD due to an improper house raid, and the APD does not want to talk about it. There are two main stories, and they both happen at the same day. Let's start with what most thought the original story was. We'll call this story the Kavala Incident. The story begins with Rogers, Seamus, and possibly Tack and Junkie, and then 4 to 6 more unknown officers raiding a Farmersville house in Kavala for a 900k bounty, most likely bread, which was done to a T, saying some of the witnesses there. It then ended with the suspect blowing himself and the APD up with a grenade. This is what most believed the story to be true. But then later, we got more reports from people saying that there was a second raid that same day. This will be called the Athera Incident. Austin Rogers, a constable, and a couple of cadets were in Athera for one reason or another, and Rogers decided to do a raid on Lex's house for an unknown reason. Rogers ended up saying, quote, "Turn yourself in or your house will be seized," unquote. Mind you, not announcing himself as an APD officer or as Rogers. Lex jumped from the house's balcony, trying to kill them before they breached. They ended up downing him and going through with the raid, which resulted in the removal. After the incident, Lex was allegedly recorded bragging about getting a lieutenant banned. Now on to some of the interviews I tried to get a hold of Lex for his side of the story, and as of 6/21/23 he is yet to message. I tried to get a hold of Rogers for his side of the story, but he never responded. To be expected. I did reach out to a lieutenant for a police response. It ended up being, quote, "It's not their business what happened to Rogers. Hence, why no announcement has or will be made regarding the Austin situation." That was in regards to me asking for a public announcement from the APD. I also got this from one of the APD officers who were at the Athera raid. Quote, "So here's what I understand. I was only here for part of the situation. Austin Rogers and Lex, aka Ken works for me, were in Athera, and Austin Rogers said verbatim, 'Turn yourself in or your house will be seized.' And he never announced himself as Austin Rogers, APD lieutenant. Lex then jumped off the balcony and shot, was downed, and then the house raid went through. Apparently, Lex technically didn't defend his house from inside the house, and Austin never properly announced himself." And then the person's opinion on this situation: "BS situation, either way, just semantics since all the criteria for a house raid were met as far as I know." I also got a verbal interview from someone who was at the Farmersville raid who wishes to be anonymous. Hello everybody, what you're about to hear is a interview with one of the people at the suspected raid number 1. So, could you, this man has chosen to stay anonymous for fear of reprisal from the higher-ups. But anyways, would you like to tell us your situation of events?
Yes, I would. So it was, to the best of my recollection, the 17th of June, 2023. Um, it started as a pretty normal day. Bank robberies, the such, federal events. I think there was even a mental asylum where Rogers was present. And eventually we were patrolling Athera, and an APB came over the I guess, screen radio, whatever you want to say. It was for something like 900k, worth a lot of money. Everyone was pretty excited about it. And Austin and some others suggested that we go to Kavala. We hopped in a helicopter and started flying there. My game would go on to crash during the helicopter flight, but all fine and well. They got there. I redeployed there real quick and showed up on scene. During this, there was a lot of chaos as, again, to the best of my recollection, Farmersville was who it was we were fighting. And we were going from house to house, a lot of shooting, a lot of death. I think we found him and got him once, maybe downed him, but somebody else shot him really quickly, so we lost him again. We're actively engaging through the town, maybe 20 minutes it's taken at this point to try and find him. Chaos everywhere. I mean, If you know Altus, you know Kavala as well, and it's hell on earth. But during one of these fights, Austin got the idea that we should raid a house, specifically the house he was in. So he walked up on it, scouted it for maybe 5 to 7 minutes, was getting ready to raid, but then figured out it was a gang house. Now he didn't know what the rules were on a gang house, to my knowledge. He didn't know exactly, because technically the registration was to the owner of the gang, and the guy inside of it was a part of it and had keys to it, but wasn't on the registration. So the dude had keys but wasn't on the registration. So he said, no, we're not touching that house not with a 10-foot pole, not with a 100. He goes, nope, I don't trust it. That house is, as much as he has keys to it, clearly, he's not on the registration, so I'm not going to raid that house. Eventually, I think the dude either left the house, because by this point I'm just kind of backing out of the fight and just listening over radio. I'm not really here, I'm not trying to constantly fight I'm backing off a bit. But I hear that he either left the house or was killed inside the house, and goes to another house, the APB target. By the way, this is what I'm talking about that we're chasing down the whole time, from house to house. I think he jumps one more house after, and this house he actually does have keys to and is on the registration. So Austin then goes, okay, this is the house that we're going to be taking, this is it. We have it perfect. He's in the house, he's on the registration, he has keys to it, he's firing at us. He has a bounty that's worth 900k with 30 manslaughters or something excessive like that, and bank robberies, but enough basically to raid a house, okay, to the best of my knowledge. By this point, from what I hear, he proceeds to open the door into the house. We go in, and I wasn't there for it, but I heard over radio, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, grenade, grenade, grenade. So my best assumption, take it with a grain of salt, I wasn't watching it actively, is somebody, because they afterwards said he killed himself, or his buddy did, somebody threw a grenade in the room and it killed a crap ton of people, including the APB target and officers. After that, to my knowledge, the raid was either over or I got off. I can't remember exactly, but I know it ended with the death of the APB in his house that we opened.
Do you recall the time exactly that this happened? Could you try to get an exact time?
It would have been in the later hours between 8 and 11 because I'm back on a good sleep schedule and I would go on to go to bed shortly after and wake up in the morning to alert you.
Is this Eastern time zone?
Yes, this would be Eastern Standard Time.
Can you recall any of the names of the people present, either on the officer's side or the rebel side, or any witnesses?
I will try my best to. I know Tachophobia was there, that's for sure. I know Austin was there, clearly. I think Junk was there, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure I remember Junk being there. We were rolling around with him for a bit. And I think that's about it. Those are the three names I remember the most as Tac. I was working with a lot during it. Junk, I think before the APB popped, I was nearby him and he asked for help from something. And Rogers, well, obviously, sadly, was present.
Do you recall what time exactly you got off at?
I can probably try and check, but I don't remember the exact time.
Estimates could work.
Estimates could work? Shoot. That's a hard one, because after the grenade incident, my memory goes fuzzy because that was the most interesting part of the day. So when I got off, I could have patrolled for another 20 minutes to an hour, or I could have got off right then and there and went to bed. But again, if the time zone is between 8 and 11, the raid happened, we'll say I got off at probably 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Again, don't quote me on these raid times. I am all over the board when it comes to the sleep schedule.
Have you heard of anything else regarding this situation that you'd like to speak about?
Yes, there is a story going around that, well, not even a story, I personally have heard it from them, and I would suggest asking permission after this if you can put this part in your video. But went over their recording of the raid, because they were very much so present, more than I was. They were pretty much by the lieutenant's side during most of it. They said they pulled up a chart after the raid, completely after it, like when Austin was kicked off the force. They went over their own recording, which had Austin in view and the house in view and the shooter in view and all that in view the whole time, pulled up the checklist, and told me that they went over the checklist like 4 times while watching the footage and found nothing wrong with what Lieutenant Austin Rogers did. It was perfectly clean, apparently. Again, I would ask permission to include this because, well, we all clearly now know how the APB higher-ups and admins can be.
It's understandable. Do we have anything else to add?
Yeah, I will add one more thing. I've noticed, since it's happened in the short time, there's been a surgence in the APB of a lot of people being nervous to do things, a lot of people being not wanting to move up as they fear that they can just get snapped out of existence like that without not even a single statement to the people of what happened. I've seen people less willing to actually do what they're supposed to do out of fear that if one person says something, or an admin, a captain is off duty and they go after them, that whoops, you went after the wrong person, bye. So, yeah, I would just say the morale is at an all-time low.
Also, urgent update in the process of making this video. Austin Rogers got his rank back, which for some people may be a happy moment and others an angry moment. For me, it opens way more questions than answers. Come back next Friday for hopefully a part 2 on this story.